Hello, my name is Anna Crow, and the title of my capstone presentation is Local Nonprofits Have Our Backs, but Who's Got Theirs? For some background information, the nature gap is a form of environmental injustice that leaves marginalized communities with less access to safe and healthy green spaces. Local nonprofits can be a valuable tool for reducing the nature gap through uplifting the voices of these underrepresented communities through taking on and carrying out environmental justice initiatives on the local level. However, local nonprofits in Seattle and around the country face many political and economic barriers to their work that can be worsened under political attacks to environmental and social justice work nationally. To guide my research, I asked two main questions. What is the importance of local environmental nonprofits in Seattle? And what challenges do local organizations face? And what recommendations could help to minimize the impacts of these challenges? For my internship, I was the social media intern for the Nature Project. The Nature Project is a local environmental nonprofit focused on minimizing the nature gap through leading free outdoor trips for youth. In addition to the inspiration I found from conducting this internship, I also used literature reviews and 7 different interviews that I conducted with a range of environmental nonprofit employees to guide my thinking. These local environmental nonprofits include Braided Seeds, the King County Play Equity Coalition, the Service Board, the Duwamish River Community Coalition, the Environmental Science Center, 350 Seattle, and my home base, the Nature Project. The importance of nonprofits was established through these interviews and independent research. The first main finding that I have was that autonomy for workers tends to be higher in local nonprofits, and they are allowed to craft creative solutions to meet community needs. One staff member at Braided Seeds states, "It feels like I'm getting more work done because there is less bureaucracy and more agency into creating new work and new approaches to things." Beyond higher flexibility and creative autonomy for workers, the community-based aspect of these local groups is also crucial. Local nonprofits tend to have a strong understanding of community needs as they operate and function within the communities that they seek to serve. Through this work, they empower and represent historically underrepresented groups, even providing leadership opportunities within these represented communities that may not otherwise be available to them. However, despite their importance, there are also many challenges that these nonprofits face. Employee burnout and funding were two major themes established in these interviews and independent research. First, nonprofits tend to depend on employees to take on many different roles on the local level as a result of limited hiring capacity. This limited hiring capacity and expectation for them to take on many roles can overburden employees and cause them to burn out and lose steam in fighting for environmental justice. In addition to burnout, funding was established as a concern across all 7 interviews. Nonprofits on the local level tend to be more reliant on government grants. These grants tend to flow starting from the federal level and go into state and municipality level before reaching community-based nonprofits. That means that any cuts on the federal level will impact state and local grants as well, and the instability of funding is a major concern for nonprofits. In addition, these grants tend to be bureaucratic and pretty time-consuming, meaning that the time that could be used for other things, employees have to focus on grant applications, which only exacerbates the issue of employee burnout for workers. Now that we've established some of their roles and the challenges that they face, I have a few recommendations for how we can empower local nonprofits on the community level. For nonprofits, I believe that they should increase community engagement and spread awareness for organizational needs both on and offline. I believe that increasing in community engagement is a really powerful tool for getting the message out that the community-based nonprofits need our help. In addition, I believe that local nonprofits should focus their energies on diversifying funding streams away from government grants when possible so that they can be less reliant on these unstable forms of money. This figure highlights the fact that 31.8% of all money coming into nonprofits comes from government grants and contracts. I believe that instead of focusing on this red, we should switch the focus to the orange, and nonprofits should look to individuals and individual donations for outreach. This will not only increase community engagement, but also help diversify funding away from unstable sources. However, nonprofits cannot do this alone. As community members, we need to be building reciprocal relationships with local nonprofits through volunteering and collaborating with them on a regular basis. In addition, it is up to us to stay educated on how policy on all levels is impacting local organizations. And when possible, we need to fundraise within the community to meet their needs. Political attacks and the deprioritization of environmental justice initiatives make community reciprocity with local organizations crucial. As community members, we should seek out opportunities to collaborate with local nonprofits and meet their needs, and we should also be advocating for more opportunities such as Capstone that connect locals with their organizations that operate in their communities. Local nonprofits have our backs, and I believe that it is crucial that we have theirs too. I would like to thank Jane, DM, my classmates, and my cat Lady for their help along this process. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I thank you for listening today. Thank you.